Hey everyone, it's getting to be that time of year again, where you need to buy something for those around you, or those around you need to find something for you. So welcome back to another PerspectiveEnd Recommends video, Christmas edition. But first, your likes! Please give. And if you enjoyed this video by the end and you aren't subscribed already, please consider it. This is a slightly harder to make video than normally, because Hasbro's distribution has gotten so bad and so upsettingly strange that getting anything reliably is kind of a chore. So let's start with the one figure that'll be on this list that you should pretty easily be able to find. 86 Brawn. This is far from anything that you could call the best figure ever, but what it is a satisfying little guy who captures the energy of the character in a really good way. Yeah, he's perhaps a little too skinny. Yeah, he's kind of small for a deluxe. Yeah, his backpack is pretty ugly and I wish it folded up better, but the posability is good, the quality is strong, the vibe is right, the transformation is fun and inventive, and the alt mode is just about as good as you could possibly get it to be. So while there are aspects of the figure that I think could look more like the character as we knew him, and he probably should have had a blast effect port on his collarbone, I will never argue that there's even one aspect of this thing that is overall handled badly. And even if he is a little guy in a deluxe price point, he's bigger than some others, so outside more accessories that I would probably just stick in a box and forget about, I don't know what more value they could have crammed into him considering he's about as big as he should be. I don't think scale is paramount, but it's been nice to have it, so I don't blame this for what it is. Next up, the second most likely figure that you'll be able to find, but also for some people probably the hardest, mainline Rise of the Beasts Rhinox. Despite the fact that these pretty much came out at the start of the year, I still see them shelf warming at both my local Walmarts. So if that holds true around the country and the world, you should totally grab one. This is just a fantastic figure. Before getting it, I heard that it was kinda bad. And I need to say, the people who believe that are just flat out wrong. They are factually incorrect. This thing rules. It's so much fun. The most I can hold against it is the colors. They're pretty boring. I mean, goddamn, do brown and silver not work together to make my brain release the happy chemical? But everything else about this thing sure do. He looks tough, he looks beefy, and badass. He poses better than, say, the shit-ass Kingdom Rhinox, and he also leaves the studio series in the dust as far as that category goes. The thing just has a presence in robot mode, and the beast mode also has something of its own as well. This feels like an unmarked party wagon here to ram the fun through your front wall at a maximum of 20 miles per hour. This is the minivan of beast modes, and it's just adorable. Like the little toaster that could with legs. I love this little brick, he's so adorable. But the cherry on top is a transformation that uncommonly for Rhinoxes absolutely shreds. Most Rhinoxes can charitably be called frustrating, and if you're the Kingdom one, absolutely cancerous to the point of causing the blood to freeze in your veins, despite the heat of rage burning within your core. But this, no, this is an absolute blast. The party van has come, and you are about to get a bag over your head and be shoved inside. This is a coded message for you, Dave. Run. Then, after mainline Rhinox, the next figure I think that you should get is his companion in the mainline Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime. This thing rocks and fucks, and looks pretty good while doing it. He's got the nice square feeties that makes my stupid crazy brain happy, and he poses like a damn dream. The dude has high-end masterpiece level jointage, super deep knees, extra deep elbows, ultra deep ankles, semi-sword wielding wrists, backwards butterflies, and ab crunch. This is the dynamic dude who is going to kick down your door and throw you in the back of Rhinox. Man, is it just me, or do I get fun when I'm really tired? But this thing just poses up a storm, ready to be put in any position that you want to. And if you notice, I'm not jobby, so there's not a sex joke here. You follow up posing like that with a transformation that fucking rules. Like, it's doing some of the same stuff that the Earthrise figure does, and while yes, the bit where the torso flips open is cooler on the Earthrise figure, this is doing all of the other stuff in a more interesting way. I mean, at bare minimum, the legs don't do literally nothing to transform here. Massive plus. And then the alt mode is pretty good too. It's a tiny little box of a thing, but it manages to not have any underpants on the back, it manages to be cohesive, and have very few visible seams. It hides the kibble well, it rolls, it's just solidly fun, even if it's odd looking. But when the robot mode is great, and the transformation is really fun, and the posability is off the charts, is an odd but cohesive alt mode really any kind of price to pay? I've still never been able to find the studio series version of this guy, but like, do I really need to know that this guy is the superior one? I don't see how it's even possible that that thing could pose better. I doubt the transformation is more fun, and I like the look of it less. Maybe it's still good, but I don't see it besting this thing. So if I were you, I'd buy this for Christmas over that one. Now for one last mainline Rise of the Beast figure to absolutely dominate on this Christmas list. Seriously, it's not even funny how much better these are than their Studio Series counterparts. Airazor, whose Studio Series version is just an ugly retool of the Kingdom's overused and overhyped rendition. It was really good once, it was not great twice, and by the third time it was just sad. This could not be more different if that was the goal. This is a sick looking version of the girl, and I will argue to my dying day not having a robot mode in the movie means that we can treat this as her official look. I mean, I think we should still do that with Rhinox too, but here at least there's no argument to be had. This is just as valid as the other uglier version. Except this looks way cooler, and it's more evocative of the character while also managing to carve out a distinct identity as one who could feasibly come from the movies. And great news, she doesn't have a soul patch, so I don't have to go thinking that she's probably a douchebag who listens to bongo music when no one's looking. She poses pretty good, not quite as well as that previous figure, but MPs don't move like him either. And once again, the main line is just devastating on their transformations. She breaks the mold in all the best ways, turning the legs and her backpack into a set of actual wings that can even go flappy, and managing to do almost nothing normal, while none of it is confusing. And then her bird mode is awesome too. She's got the classic Beast Wars fist feet, Great look, a woman of true taste, a convincing burb appearance that has way less kibble than the kingdom's Skylings-esque undercarriage, and it poses great for a beast former too. The one problem with this thing is that if you live in the US, it's almost impossible to find it outside of an overpriced 3-pack with 2 of the shittiest toys I've ever handled in it. If you live outside the US, that does not appear to be a problem, and I've heard that some stores around here carry her single-packed, so 2/3 of what you pay for doesn't have to be garbage that you don't want. But if you'd like something to give for Christmas, this is a good one to use, if you can just avoid the other 2 figures. Then, weirdly topically, it's VNR Optimus Prime, who started life as Santimus Prime, before being re-released in this dark and deadly candy red color scheme. And just damn it, this is a good-looking Optimus Prime. The head is absolutely to die for. Why couldn't they copy this one a million times rather than the Siege one that worked for Siege and never again? This almost certainly is the worst posing figure I've covered so far, but that's not to say that he's bad at it. He's just average in the face of excellent. What's absolutely selling this thing is how fucking cool it looks. It's the kind of Optimus that you could stare at for a long while and get lost in. The darker colors, rich reds, and deep black base are just ludicrous. The figure looks alive, and the transformation also really helps. This is another great strong point. It's fun, it's really different for an Optimus, it's clicky and satisfying, and then somehow it all ties together perfectly in the end. I mean, seriously, look at this thing. There's not a hint that it even transforms. It's a flawless truck mode, and it wears the Earthrise Prime's accessories better than the original figure ever did, with its far better paint job down the side and the way better clearances between the two. You can probably still find the Christmassy version if you really want to lean into the holiday spirit, and while I think that thing is tacky beyond belief, it's got a charm to it. And lastly, if you can get one of these, well then you are good little girls and boys this year. 86 Snarl. Yeah, that's right, I've recommended all of these except for Slag, and I stand by that. Slag is decent, but he's got problems. This, on the other hand, is the best posing of the 86 Dinobots so far, and unlike Slag, nothing wants to fall off this one. The robot mode looks great, though the plastic is a little cheaper looking here than on the rest of the team, but I love the sculpt work, and once again, they managed to make this boy look beefy, without making his shoulders obstruct his peripheral vision. And then they decided that they really wanted to obstruct his peripheral vision anyways, so they had these large cancerous mounds grow out of his shoulders. Guys, that's not even remotely correct. And you know, I like the head, even if it's super strange that it looks more like Megatron than it looks like him. After that, not only does this guy have the deepest joints of all the 86 Dinobots so far, but I'd also say that he's got the second best transformation behind Sludge, who had the second best posing. So it's a weird little competition these two are having between each other. It's just a fun and interesting process that doesn't overcomplicate things for the sake of overcomplication like some third-party Dinobots like to do. And then the Dino mode is a really solid affair. Once again, it's probably the most accurate to the show any of these has been, but I suppose it's up to your personal taste if you see that as a good thing. I personally am glad to finally have one that I don't have to squint at to say looks like the guy I grew up watching. But then again, I'm also kind of cool with there only needing to be one that looks right. It's a bit goofy, but I mean, we're Transformers fans. Would any of us really turn our noses up at goof, especially on Christmas? But yeah, if you can finagle any of these for yourselves this year, or grab them for the Transformers fan in your life, I think that you'd be pretty happy with them. I feel the warm and fuzzies for each of these, and I think you will as well. If you don't, well then I just hope your overall Christmas was otherwise very good, and I'm sorry for not recommending something that you'd absolutely love. And before I go, I have one last order of business. Normally, I don't like to bring the real world into these videos because I want to be the bringer of joy and good times, but I felt that this was important. I put a link in the description to a GoFundMe for one of my fans. I don't want to share the details here as it's a real bummer, but if you'd be so inclined, please take a look at it and decide for yourselves if you want to contribute or not. If not, then thanks for taking the time to contemplate it and maybe tell a friend. And that's not half what I have to say, but it's enough what I have to say. And I know, you know, what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So, if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.